So today I'm going to talk about Pixologic's Sculptris, which is a 3D modeling software. And as you can see, you can do a lot of really creative things on this software. It can be exported to a 3D printer as well. I'm still working on figuring out the details on that. You can download a free copy of Sculptris program from this website if you are interested. Before you get started, I highly recommend that you watch a few tutorials on YouTube or go ahead and search in Google Docs for some images for inspiration. There's a lot of extremely creative things that people have made with Sculptris, and I'm going to hopefully show you today some basics of Sculptris. So starting with launching Sculptris, this is the first thing you're going to see when it opens up. So on the left is the toolbar, and I just want to point out that if you have an existing document, this is where you can open it from. I did make I don't have it here. I'll show you after one that I've made previously, but save is very important. You want to save your work as you go. And some of the tools I use most frequently is the grab tool. Use that one a lot. Smooth, I use that one a lot. Draw, inflate, crease. Those are the most commonly used ones that I use. If you want to start over, you're going to hit the new sphere and start with a new scene. Or I'll show you later how to add more spheres to your work if you'd like. So today we're going to work with a basic face. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time because you can spend a lot of time making something on here. But I want to point out that the symmetry tool is on. So you can shut the symmetry off and the center line disappears, or turn it on. For this example, we want the symmetry line on because anything we do on the left will be done on the right-hand side. You start by shaping the head. You're going to hit the grab tool, and this controls the size of what you're grabbing. So when you're looking on here, you're going to see that sphere, and I want to work pretty large to start off. So I'm actually going to make this as big as it goes. Start shaping the head. You could just use the grab tool and just kind of push the shape of the head in, which works really nicely. You also want to remember that you're working in the round, meaning this is three-dimensional and it's not just one side you need to think about. We need to think about the whole entire piece. So use the grab tool to just start shaping, the basic of what you're making. If you want to pull out a chin, you could do that. If you want to pull out a nose, there's other tools we can use, but we can pull out the beginning of a nose. I don't like that. We're going to delete. So I should point out, I don't really like where that was going. So hit Control Z to deselect, and that will bring me back. You could go backwards multiple times if you'd like. Before we go too far, I do want to mention that this program can sometimes get hung up or kind of lag if it's full screen. So one thing I definitely recommend doing is minimizing the screen and working with it maybe half the size of your screen. The other thing you could do in this format is you could search an image on Google. It could do like a basic 3D head, see what comes up. So sometimes it's helpful to work from an image when you're creating something. So I like to find some kind of image, and bear with me one second, I'm just going to find something. I just found this image, which I think is doable on here for this short presentation. So anyway, I found it, and the first thing I'm gonna do with this image is get it over to one side by minimizing the screen. And this way I can work side by side with my program. So I find that really helpful if you are just starting this off. Sometimes it's hard to kind of be able to think of an image out of your head. So working with an image side by side is very helpful. So I'm going to take a minute and just reshape this head, and I will use my image to the left to kind of help me shape this. All right, so that was the grab tool. The next we're going to make over here, you can see there's indentation for the eyes. There is an inflate tool. And we're not going to inflate the circle. We actually kind of want to deflate. We want to make a hole where the eyes would go. So we'd hit the invert at the top, and then you're just going to start kind of tapping the mouse and creating this crease in the eyes. And if this shape isn't going the way you want, then you can use the grab tool with a very big size, and we can kind of pull them down into the right shape. I'm going to make this a little smaller so I could pull the eyes into better position. There we go. So that's looking a little bit better. Next, let's make the nose. So you could do this a couple of different ways. I think the inflate tool is a good one for the nose. Take off the invert button at the top and just start clicking so we can kind of pull out the shape of a nose. And again, this is looking a little bit large. I'm going to click up the bridge of the nose so that we have something going on up here. It's more like a circle, but if I use the grabbing tool, I can hopefully tone this down. There we go. And pull that down. There. Let's see what it looks like from the side. So that's an important point. So we are missing kind of a lot on this head from the side point of view. So I need to pull out a chin because this person right now has no chin. So let's fix that with the grab tool. So I'm going to use the grab tool again, make sure invert is off. If you don't see the circle, I uncheck this global tool and then you'll be able to see it better. So this is getting a little bit better and just grabbing the chin forward. So it's definitely important to check this from the sides so you can kind of get a better idea of what this is actually looking like. I pull this out a little bit more. All right, and then working again on the nose, I'm just going to try to fix this. I'm going to use the grab tool. I don't know if this is going to work for me, but let's see what happens. Yeah, it's kind of working. All right, so that's a little bit better. Now the mouth, you can use, we have a draw tool, which works pretty nicely, and you can draw the upper lip here and the lower lip. And I know this looks kind of weird, but this is kind of the beginning. And again, you could use the smoothing tool and smooth all this out. And then to get the inside of the mouth, there's a crease tool, which is here. And I just caution you that this is little dots, but you can, once you kind of get the creases where you want, you can smooth it out after. So we can go ahead and I'm just going to add a few more dots in here and just clicking. There we go. And then I can use a smoothing tool and smooth this out. So there's a lot of shortcuts, and you could use the handout that I gave you on the shortcut page to learn how to do some of these a little bit better. But I would like to add a little more on the top lip, so I think drawing this in would be a good selection for this. And I can just kind of build this up, this upper lip. And again, if it's a little too much, I can undo it. Control Z, undo. I'll try it again. I might make this a little smaller. That might be a little too small. Let's try that again. All right, there we go. That's better. And then like the nose, if I want to make nostrils in the nose, I'm going to tip this up a little bit. And I'm going to go to that inflate, and I want to actually, again, do the opposite. So I'm more like deflating. And I'll make this nostril size and then just start clicking. Click, click, click. We get the nostrils put in here. So we got some nostrils, and I'm going to need to draw the nostrils out a little bit more. So I'm going to add the drawing tool, and I'm just going to need a little more material. Oops, Control Z, I forgot to take it off of invert. There we go. I'm going to draw the front of this nose out a little bit more. There we go. And the nostrils. So this drawing tool is definitely helpful for kind of making this a little more realistic. All right, so this is the basics. The last thing I want to show you is like how to add, and this obviously needs some work. I could use the drawing tool, sorry, I just skipped over, but the drawing tool to kind of add eyebrows, you can just kind of put them in place. And then if you want to make the draw very thin, you can add some lines. I actually want to invert that for detail so I could, sketch eyebrow hair lines on here if you want to do that. And to add eyeballs, you're going to just go to New Sphere, Add Object. You're going to get these two circles. You hit Enter to place them in place. And then we are going to use the Scale button. And I'm just going left to right with the left side of my mouse down to scale them down. So we got to get them the right size we want first. And then we go to the Grab tool and we grab them. Now I'm going to just turn the head because I actually want to put them into the head. I have to fix that nose too. There, we can actually set them in place in the head. So that's maybe a little bit more. There, we hit Enter when we're done. And I want to fix the nose. You're going to notice that only the eyes are selected. So I want to do Control A to select everything. And I have to fix this poor nose. So let's take invert off. Gonna just pull this out and push this down a little bit more. And hopefully just get the bridge of this up a little bit. Okay, that's a little bit better. That needs some work too, but this is how we have the eyes going. And if I realize, yeah, the eyes are kind of big, I can adjust those. Once you get those in place, again, you can add a lot more to these. Like you could draw in the eyelids and whatnot, and then we can add some eyes by hitting the deflate button. That looks really scary, but that's what we could do to start. I'm going to go a little smaller for the inside of the eye. So anyway, that's our basic really scary head. And I just added a little bit more to the eyes. I pushed them in and added a little bit of material for the eyelids using the draw tool. And that's about it. So again, familiarize yourself with the basic tools that you can use. I think pretty much crease, draw, inflate, smooth, grab, scale, symmetry, New Sphere are the ones most commonly used. I do want to point out that if you take this off symmetry, so let's say I wanted to add something on one side that's not on the other, like if I was going to, for example, put hair or something on him, you want to do everything symmetrical first, because once I shut off symmetry, I will not be able to go back and add something symmetrical. So you can sort of inflate hair if you want to do that, or actually draw might be a better plan. So I'm just kind of I just use the draw tool to get in some, a little more material up here, and then I can minimize down the shape of the brush for draw, and I'm going to hit the invert button, and then I could probably get some more detail in here so it looks a little more like hair. I can make these bigger. So you can kind of just go back and forth until you kind of get something going on here. And I probably could do a better job showing you how to add hair, but for now, the bigger issue is that the symmetry tool needs to be used first before you make it asymmetrical. And that's about it. So I hope you guys got the basics of this, that do everything symmetrical first. Make sure you save your work. New Sphere kind of starts you over or adds the eyes shape. Crease creases the shape. And again, invert allows you to kind of go back and forth from the opposite to what it says. So if it's inflate, you do invert and it would deflate. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and I hope it helps. Thanks.